You were created not to just do one thing or to be one thing. In kingdom, you can do this and that. You can be this and that. Because whatever this or that and that is, you are strengthened through Christ. So don't ever shy away from a desire that you have, because that desire is a prompting of what you could do and what you could have and what you could be.
Build $1,000,000 legacy with purpose.
I am Dr. Marnita on fire.
All right.
Build $1,000,000 legacy with purpose. I love this community. So happy that you are here with us. And I'm telling you, we're going to have an amazing time over the next hour. But what I want to do, because some of you know me and some of you know my girl, who's my co-host, Tamiko Ruby J. I'm going to let her introduce herself, and we're about to get this party started. And if there's anybody out there that is watching us right now, put some fire in the chat, because we're about to unleash some fire today. So I hope you're ready, because you know, high energy in this group, we don't do nothing but high energy. So Tamiko, take it off, girl.
All right. Well, hello. Tamiko Ruby J here. And like my sister, Dr. Marnita said, we are on fire pre-show, and we call the virtual green room. We was just like, whoa. It's so many things that's happening in such a marvelous, interesting way. And I want to thank my sister for inviting me to be her co-host as we embark on, as she allows me to, be in the co-pilot seat with her as we embark on this amazing opportunity and this amazing journey to build $1,000,000 purpose with $1,000,000 people, with 1,000,000 people on purpose. How about
now, girl, you know I love that. With 1,000,000 people, build $1,000,000 legacy with purpose for 1,000,000 people. Now there's some things that you can do in your own natural talent and power, but there are some things that's only going to happen with an anointing on your project. Can I get an amen on that?
Amen. Yes, exactly. And I will say this part, I want to speak to this. I think I touched on it in our first interview. And the thing that's so amazing for me right now, I am in the process and in the walk that I'm doing, is about community. Okay. Now, there's a lot of people, and I want to thank each and every person for showing up, man. I had so much positive feedback from our first interview, and I'm getting positive feedback from our live conversation where it was just my sister and I just gapping it up about what's happening, right? But what I really want to speak to in this is the fact about partnership or about community, because what I realize and recognize now, and I didn't really pay it any attention before, because I operated out of whether they like it or whether they don't. If I'm always operating 120% from my truth, then it's cool. So I stayed in that lane, knowing a lot of people may feeling as though they were my dearest and best friend. Just, oh my God, Tamiko loves me. Yeah, I do. but what was interesting about that, I never, I gave a lot, but I never allowed myself to receive. Okay. Not from others that much. I always counted on God. So in this partnership, I want to thank you, because like I'm saying, I think I said partnership, like already 3 times, and I haven't cringed. That's a great thing for me. So when you are coaching and when you are in a live space of transformation, you get to practice what you preach. So here it is. Not only am I practicing it, but I'm practicing it on a social media outlet that's going like virtual, and people are seeing it. So yeah. So, and what I'm realizing with Marnita, my sister, like we have a hell of a lot more in common than I thought.
Yeah, we talked about
I mean,
that.
it's becoming confirmed over and over and over again. So thank you and welcome everybody. We're about to have some fun. Also, Dr. Marnita and I would like to also invite you guys to, in your comments, if there's anything that you would like for us to touch on, let us know. We had one of our new members, Karen Briggs. She did exactly that. And so we are going to dive into her question because it was pretty powerful. Yeah.
So today's conversations and what we agreed to do is titled Under the Umbrella of Build $1 Million Legacy with Purpose. I just like the way that sounds. Come on, y'all. Come on now. We decided to have this subtitle headline, Convos for Your Calling.
Mhm.
You know what? Because everybody has one. So it is my hope that you are able to acquire some information for a revelation to help elevate you into your transformation.
Say it again, please.
Did y'all hear that?
I think you need to say it again. I think they heard it, but I think you need to say a lot.
Tamiko said I need to say that one again, because I think I need to say that one again too, because what my hope is that as we're having these combos for your calling, that you are able to acquire information so you can get a revelation in order to experience an elevation towards your transformation. Take notes, you know what? Because what I realized, those who will get the most out of these conversations are note takers. And note takers are change makers. Not only for you and yourself, but for you and what you are about to unleash in your community. Let me just say this. I am so proud of you. I shared with Tamiko probably the second day that, no, it was after our first conversation. I said, Tamiko, I would love to see 100 people in this group by next Tuesday. Didn't I say that to you, Tamiko? And as of right now, I do believe, unless within the past, how long we've been on this live, but within the past 11 minutes, that we have gotten one more. But last I checked, we are at 99. We are at 99. So don't get it confused. We are serious. We are setting the intention.
Yes.
We are not taking any excuses, voice, no electricity, because what I shared with Tamiko is that in Florida, it's storming, like it's rain everywhere right now. Those of you who are in Florida, y'all know I lost electricity last night. I lost electricity like 20 minutes ago. It just came back on. Now, none of this is running by electricity. I always stay prepared so I don't have to get prepared.
Yeah,
So
that part.
everything is running, that part, everything is running off a battery. So,
Battery and faith.
oh God, battery and faith. Say that again to me. Battery and faith.
Yeah.
So I love it because today we're talking about image, getting back to home base. And we kind of tapped on image in our last convo. We talked about where the word image actually comes from and how we acquire the image that we think we have. And I said, think intentionally there. Because when we are born, like we are born created in the image of God. But when we take on this earth suit, we forget where we came from. So we began to become influenced by others who gives us our personality, our image, and who we think we should be. And that's why I thought talking about image and getting back to home base was so appropriate. Because if you're going to impact your community, you're not going to impact it and influence it in a way that's going to make a difference because you're unique. You're going to have to make your difference.
Very well put. I want to piggyback what you're saying because I do feel that the image of who we are, our innate character of who we don't ever lose that. Okay. What can happen is we can start to adapt to, like you say, societal unnorms, because what's normal for you might not be normal for society, but that's what society says is okay. I'll use an example when you want to talk about image. So being in the beauty industry, I remember it was something that was natural for me. Just I loved quote unquote doing hair. There's a difference in being a hairstylist and there's a difference in doing hair, right? And I love cutting hair. And I mean, I would cut Val's hair, cousin's hair, anybody who would let me, quote unquote, I would say, play in their hair to create art, I would do it. However, when I started to train professionally, go to cosmetology school, and we had to learn the standard state board haircut. Okay. Trying to adapt to that very basic, non-attractive, or what I thought at that time, haircut. Now I went to cosmetology school after high school, whatever. Anyway, my point being is that after I got my license, it took me almost 2 years to be able to get that standard cut out of my head and go off rip like and what the design would be. Now a lot of people are like, "Well, you did hair?" Yeah, I did. And it bothered me so much I shaved my head. Anyway, because I'm like going against the norm, coming back to the image of myself. And what I realized with that also when we want to talk about image is just how much hair for, and I won't just say women, for people, but hair for women especially is such a major part of their identity and a major part of their image. So I just wanted to bring that conversation around image and around character and around how we start to establish a understanding that we need to look and or be a certain way. It starts early, but underneath that, there's still a part of us that yearns to be who we are. Okay. Whoever that may be. That's why you have people that work a job for years and years and years. And once they're no longer in that position, whether it's high level executives or whether it's just that hard working person, blue collar person that has just worked 30, 40 years. But then when they complete that assignment, I won't say retire, but when they complete that assignment, the guy that gets the motorcycle and then drives across country or gets the mobile home with the motorcycle and drives across country, or the woman that retires and starts crocheting or starts taking line dancing or whatever the case may be, because at that point now they've done what society said you should do. They've checked the boxes, hopefully. Okay. And if they're blessed enough to have taken care of their temple, now they get to do quote unquote what they want to do. They get to reset in that place that was innately already there. Okay. Image. When we talk about image, I know I'm a person with a big laugh. I've always had a big laugh. Always had a big laugh. And I can remember when I was younger being told, "Shh, you shush me, I'm gonna get louder." All right. I'm gonna get louder. So that's why my laugh is so big, because I was always like, "What are
I
you
like
laughing
that.
at? What are you laughing at?" And have you noticed if you're smiling or if you're laughing sometimes? Have you ever heard people say they up to something? If a person is smiling or a person is laughing just for what seems like no reason, which I love that. You don't know what that person's reason is for smiling. You don't know what that person's reason is for crying. But
I,
a person
I,
else,
Tamika, I like the way you're bringing all of that together because it's this myriad of things
yeah,
that can you can have as a platform to be able to assess image, right? So, and I think that's an amazing thing, and I think it's something that we don't give ourselves permission to take advantage of because oftentimes culture
mhm.
just want they want to put you in a box, right?
Well, we talked about that.
We
Okay.
talked about that, right? They want to put you in a box. But what I want to share, and hopefully that you will engage, is that you were created not to just do one thing or to be one thing. In kingdom, you can do this and that. You can be this and that. Because whatever this or that and that is, you are strengthened through Christ. So don't ever shy away from a desire that you have, because that desire is a prompting of what you could do and what you could have and what you could be
And who you could be.
and who you could be.
And who you could
So
be.
don't shy away from none of that. Don't allow people to put you in a box that is going to suppress your image and who you are, because it is what it is. You are who you are. And your uniqueness is in your image and who you are. What you are able to deliver to your community and to the marketplace is going to be your difference. It's just not going to be the difference. And it is your difference that is the most impactful, the most influential, the most pervading. Those are the things that's going to help you elevate yourself in your journey to your transformation. And I think what's really important about that part, was I have a unique discontent with this one. What's most important about that part is the stories that we tell ourselves, our narration of what we tell ourselves about ourselves. I think that's just so important that we
Okay.
need to keep a strong handle on. And I'm gonna pass it off because I got a lot to say, but I want to pass it off to Tamiko and let her speak to this because I know she deals with a lot of people that probably are experiencing self-defeating conversations about who they are.
Well, and that speaks to thank you. That speaks to when we talk about self-defeating conversations, right? Or quote unquote with image. Words have power. And
Mm,
so something as simple as if someone calls you unique, where does that fall? If somebody calls you exotic, where does that fall? If
mm,
somebody calls you different, where does that fall? You understand what I'm saying? Um, for many, many years, people I've had people look at me with interesting eyes and say, "You're so exotic." And
mhm,
what that did for me is had me instantly think, well, which animal do they see? Because in my point of reference, anytime I heard something being compared as exotic, it was an animal. Okay. One that wasn't in captivity, yay, but it was still an animal. I've never heard someone speak of a woman, especially a Black woman. They would say she was attractive, they would say whatever, but exotic. And then later on in life, past the 80s, exotic was a dancer. We know what kind.
mhm.
I ain't mad at y'all. Do what you got to.
Good. That's good, girl. That's good.
So you see what I'm saying? And so to speak to what you're saying as far as a person um, actually embodying who they are, I think that there's an assumption that a person knows. Oftentimes they don't. They know what they've been told. They have an idea of what they feel may get them to point A, B, or C. But going back to that root of who they are, that's a whole different process because that's a deeper dive in an inner self. And it has to do, like I said, simple words. Do you know how many women, especially, can't look at themselves in the mirror? They do not look at themselves in the mirror. Ask me how I know. Because being in the beauty industry, after a person would complete a service, and I would give them the mirror to look, and they were like, "Oh, I know it looks good." Hmm.
You even have to wonder, like, when you hand them the mirror, and they say, "Oh, I know it," like, they don't wanna look right, but I know it looks good. You have to really think about, like, mhm, I'm this very meticulous person, right? I like science. Science is my thing, right?
Mhm.
So, you have to wonder where that thought is even coming from, because that, like, "Oh, I don't have to look," that thought is coming from somewhere, right?
And that's why I asked them.
In our awareness, right? It's
Mhm.
coming 'cause and Tamiko and I talked about this yesterday. There's multi levels of awareness that you may or may not be aware aware of, right? So when you say, "Oh, I don't need that," uh, what part of your awareness is that coming from? And maybe, and this may be another conversation for next week. Maybe we'll talk about those levels of awareness of where they could be coming from. Because everything you do, when you look around you, everything you see around you, whether you want to admit to it or not, is irrelevant. You created it. Yeah, we need to stop there and ruminate on that one for a minute.
So
You
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 say
created.
when you say you created it, because that's a strong one for people, and that's a strong one for people to understand, especially people that are in trauma right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So what that means by you created it is a situation came about. Okay. A circumstance came about. And in the moment that you became aware of it, in that moment of your awareness, there's a possibility for change, whether it's a freeze in that moment and be like, oh yeah, whether it's a countdown, whether it's a run. But in that moment where you realized a situation, good, bad, or indifferent, in that moment that the awareness comes, that's the space where change can happen. So it's hard for people. I know in the teachings of A Course in Miracles and Science of the Mind and different
Metaphysics, all of that.
the metaphysics, that's one of their main things that they say is that we create whatever situation or whatever our reality is, we create that. So that's where that comes from. Is it saying that if you're a person that has experienced trauma and drama, that you brought that to you? You
I love
created that, right? A child being molested or raped, did that child create that? This environment created that,
because it's
right?
collective, right? It's
Right.
collective.
The environment created that. And unfortunately, oftentimes we're in environments where if there's chaos or mayhem, there's a strong possibility that thou that are in that environment may get
Mm.
it. Okay. Now, that's a whole nother space. But I just wanted to bring that thought process or that energy to that thought, especially for people right now that may be sitting in situations like, what the hell is going on? The world is looking like a handbasket. And I don't know how many people actually have hand baskets. I don't. So I'm just saying that because it's a cliche and it sounds crazy, but you know, but I would say, in that, if we look at the image of what's happening around us, if we are aware of our environment and what does that environment look like, simple change, what the beautiful thing about being human beings, having a spiritual experience, is we get that opportunity to make change. We have free will. The free will is what is being spoken to when we say that you create your environment, because we have free will. Whatever that free will may be in the moment, think about that for a moment. I have free will. Have you ever been in a place and you thought about something? Marnita brought it up when she said 99 members. So, I'm still a little bit hip hop. So I like the fact that we had 99 because, I got 99 blessings and here comes one. We know that song go a different way, but y'all know I'm from 118, y'all. I'm still a little bit urban. But I'm like, of course we had 99, right? But anyway, point being is that we have that I would challenge, our community to think about that. If you're in an environment and being aware of your environment and where, especially if it's something that is not uplifting you. You walked in feeling and looking and being a certain type of way, or you had that phone call when it started and you were feeling and being a certain type of way. But at the completion of that time in that space with those individuals or with that individual, how did you feel in the space and how did you feel leaving the space? These are all a part of when we stretching the concept of image. Is not, for me, it is not just a look.
Tamiko,
a look.
we just got a question in
Okay.
our chat
Okay.
that I want to share. Thank you for being engaged because it is a part of our mission statement for this community. So the question is that she just got off a Zoom call with a client who was extremely rude, and she's trying not to be offended. This is so good. Oh my God.
I'm leaning in.
Why?
Look.
Oh my God, right? Our question is, why is it so hard? This is so good. You and I were just having a similar
Wait, what was the question?
Okay, I'm going to repeat it again, okay?
Okay.
The person in our community says that I just got off a Zoom call with a client who was extremely rude, and I'm trying not to be offended. Why is it so hard?
Why is it so hard
Not to be, I'm assuming.
not be offended?
Mhm.
Okay. First of all, we don't know what space that client was coming into the conversation, into the coaching session with. What happened beyond what happened when they picked up that phone or when they got on that Zoom call? We don't know. Okay. I feel though the rudeness was coming up intuitively. I'm gonna just speak to the intuition. Okay. Is this was a client that the individual was excited about getting as a client. Okay. This client might be somebody that came quick, paid all, did everything, came with the dollars and this, that, and the other. What happens in coaching, I feel, is that you are also being coached. Your clients will teach you about you.
That is so good.
Okay.
That is so good. Yes, say that one again.
Your clients, when you are coaching, your clients will teach you about you. The one thing that is so important, and I think that what has helped me be so successful throughout life is healthy boundaries. Okay. We talked about this in the first interview as well. I do intense consultations. They are complementary to the person, but they are not complementary to me because it tells me in that 15 to 30 minutes whether or not I can work with you. Okay. You will sense things in people. So I'm gonna say a prayer that in that particular situation, that person was just having a bad day or a bad moment. And see, with me, if you having a bad day, we're gonna clear it up for at least that hour and a half or that 2 hour time that we in session. We don't do bad hours and bad days. We can do a bad hour or two, not a whole day. Let's not do a whole day. So your question regarding why is that? That speaks to what we're talking about, because you allowed it. At
And
the
I,
moment that she started getting, I'm going to say this part, Marnita, and I'm going to pass it to you. At the moment you became uncomfortable, that's when there's tools, strategies that you can do, such as, one moment, please. When they start to over talking you and this, that, and the other, because at this particular point,
it's
they
true.
they didn't already pay. So if they want to pay to holler at themselves or act crazy, there's a little bit of okay in that, but so I would say to you in that is be careful of allowing that. It's about healthy, safe boundaries. And maybe
That's good.
the next session is about that rudeness, but it would have to be addressed, because if it's not, it will possibly happen again. Marnita, what are your thoughts on that?
I want to have the person really consider some introspection also. Like I said before, there are 4 different levels of awareness. And oftentimes, we are trying to resolve the elements that reside in our unconscious. The elements that reside in our unconscious are rules that we have created from our history in order to be okay with the world, in order to be accepted, in order to be enough, in order to be worthy, in order to have the capacity, in order to be significant. Oftentimes, unconsciously, we're trying to resolve that. And in trying, because you can never resolve it, and that's why I keep saying trying. In trying to resolve that, what happens is triggers. We have triggers, right? And those triggers, when she says, I'm trying not to be offended, it's not the client that's offending you. It's you trying to resolve a trigger based on a belief that you have in your unconscious. And we all do it. That's why it is so important to know what are the, because in your unconscious, your self-conscious is always referencing your unconscious, because that's its history. That's what it knows. So in order to protect itself, it needs to reference what has worked in order to keep us safe. So when we perceive perception awareness, when we perceive someone has said something that has attacked what we believe in our unconscious, the thing that's going to happen is we're going to get offended because we're trying to resolve that belief that we have about ourselves. That's why image is so important. And like Tamiko said, that oftentimes our clients will do some things that will make us look at ourselves and try to figure out what just happened here. So that part is so important, because
Oh,
if you don't know what's in your unconscious, it will forever run your life. So you have to know what's there. What is my subconscious referencing in order to keep me safe? Because you know you're not ever safe, right?
I think you are. But I want to say, do you have a pencil sitting there or a pen sitting in front of you?
Me?
Yes.
I think so. Yes.
Pick up that pencil.
Yes.
Hold it up where you can see it. Right? All right. Put it down. Now try to pick up that pencil.
Did you?
So are you trying to pick up that pencil right now, or did you pick it up, or that pen?
I picked it up. I didn't
Uh,
try to do anything. I just picked it up.
So that part. So I just want to use that as an example. Either you're doing something or you're not.
Mm.
Get to a point where you are doing it, you're no longer trying it. It is in the process. Now, if you pick up this pencil and I drop it, and you pick up this pencil and it falls over. What is causing you to not get a grip on this? That's
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 good. That
that's
now that part is good. What is causing you not to get a grip on this?
what are you causing you again? And these are the type, this is the beauty in the way that we teach, because Marnita, she gonna give you that science. She is so good, Dr. Marnita, and she's a chemist. So she gonna go in there and dissect it, and she gonna bring it in. She gonna have your mind looking a certain kind of way, and she gonna bring all. And then I'm gonna be like, yep, just like what she said for y'all real heady people, but y'all people like me, I'm like, let me give you a simple example of what we doing while we not trying. All right. Okay.
Yes,
That's
because
the beauty.
I'm always coming in from the like.
Okay, because I'm gonna swoop you from the back end and then drop it and keep it moving. But quit trying so hard. Okay. And this is a perfect example of that, because it allows you to be in the moment of what you're trying to get her to hear you say, where you're trying to get her to validate you as the coach, where you're trying
Validation,
okay,
validation. Oh my
because
God.
I'm hearing a lot going
Oh,
on. That whole thing, the intuitive part comes up. And this is what's so beautiful about the dynamics of our relationship. Because Marnita gets that science, she gonna break it down. I'm linked in on that. I'm like, wow, that's good, that's good, that's good. So now for the layperson, what does that mean? So that's
that
what,
that was so good. And I hope some of this conversation will help
oh, it
you
will.
in navigating that part of the territory. Because one thing for sure, this is not the first time that happened for our guests, for our member in our community. It's not the first time it has happened.
But it
She
can't
just
be the last.
noticed it. She
Yeah,
just, and that, like,
it can't be the
yes,
last.
yes, yes, I want to clap, but I don't want to put all the noise. Yes, you
It can't be the last.
noticed it,
Yeah,
because you can't address what you're not willing to access.
that's it. And I would also I would ask her, or challenge. I like giving people challenges. It's like a game show. I would challenge her to, as she thinks about that session, at what point did she get triggered?
Ooh, that's a good one too. What was, yes,
At
that part.
what point did you get triggered? And then the other thing that's coming up is, before you even started the session, before you even sat down to start, what space were you in?
Yes, where were you?
Because
Yes.
it was something else that you possibly wanted to be doing, and it caught you off guard that you had to sit in that. So you already sitting on a slight bit of irritation, or not. I'm just saying, it speaks to what Dr. Marnita said about your awareness and your consciousness of the things that you've always done. Okay. And so where were you sitting in that? That speaks to that, the comment about how we are our situations or our circumstances, we is because of us. Okay. But I call it a safe way to dissect what happened. Okay. There's a great book out that's called What Happened to You.
Yes. Who wrote that book?
Dr. Oh
It was
man,
Oprah and this other guy. He was a
mm-hmm,
clinical. It's
mm-hmm.
so good. Y'all need to get that. Like, it's not, um,
Oh man, what here? I look it up real quick.
yeah, it's like, what, it is so good. But that's good. But while she's looking it up, I want to offer um the 6 things that we all have. Well, yeah, most of us have it anyway. Like, none of us, listen, you're not all that, but none of us are exempt.
Yeah, they are.
No, stop it.
Yeah,
Um,
they are. I had to jump there. Yeah, they are. We all that. Yes,
wait,
yes,
wait,
they
wait,
are.
wait,
All right,
wait,
go ahead.
wait.
Look
I,
this up.
I would offer 6 things for you to consider in relationship, to what it is you're trying to resolve, and not know that you're trying to resolve it. Okay. The first one is beliefs that we acquire over our lifetime based on our environment and our community. First one is, I'm not good enough. There are tentacles that come off of that you're trying to resolve to other people that you are good enough. 2, I'm not worthy. I hope y'all writing these down because I don't know if I'll repeat them again. 2, I'm not worthy.
Mm-hmm.
3, I don't belong. 4, I'm imperfect. 5, I don't have the capacity. And 6, I am not significant. And this is just like a handful, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
of I think I stopped at 6 because 6 based on numerology means man, right? So I stopped at 6 for that reason. I always have to give y'all like some kind of scientific backup of why I do what I do, but that's okay. Y'all get over it. You'll be
No,
okay.
it's good. It's
Be
good because it's
okay.
coming from all
Amen.
directions. And then
It's not that those 6. Now, listen to me. Those 6 are not all inclusive, right? But it's something to start with. It's something to start with. So, did you get the author of the book?
the author of the book is Dr. Bruce Perry, and
Yeah,
also
he's good.
co-author with Miss Winfrey.
Yes,
Okay,
he did.
so
They
yeah,
did, they
and
did that thing.
they did. It's really a powerful book, and so that's the beautiful thing. But to all of the people that are in the group who are coaches, mentors, mentees, and that basically just covered everybody, because whether you are titling yourself as a coach or a mentor or a mentee, you are. Life teaches us, life coaches us. So in the essence of how we are showing up, and this is what's so beautiful about this community, because you get the science behind the thinking. Okay, you're going to get the esoteric behind the thinking. You'll get actual in process, in progress examples of tools, strategies, uh, books, and exercises to apply to life. You just had that one with the word trying. For me, you know, trying is not a word in my vocabulary. Either I'm doing it or I'm not. Okay. The try is the thinking about. Let me put it that way. When I think about it, then I try to figure out how it's going to get done. But I'm also impulsive, so I just kind of do. I'm just going to jump in there. I mean, just like with this, we did the interview. We got a lot of feedback, a lot of positive feedback, and folks asking, well, when is the next one? Okay, when is the next one? And I literally was just sitting, chilling, and I heard Holy Spirit say, call your sister now. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? It was seriously just like that. Like, see if she wants to do this. And that's how it happened. Like, I was trying to ask myself, well, why haven't you talked to her about it? That was the try. Once I made the phone call, it became real. There was no longer trying. And then you see what I'm saying? So when
that try word is so insidious.
yeah, I think it keeps one. Try is a cop out word.
Yes, it is.
It's a cop out word. Okay. Try, I don't know. Those two words crack me up.
I know, because there's no such thing as I don't. Like, so many people use that. Y'all, listen, if you find yourself, you hear yourself saying, I don't know, smack yourself for me. Because there is nothing more like, that's just like, I mean, that's ludicrous.
Well,
I don't know, like, really? You
yeah.
like in your 30s, 40s, 50s? I expect a baby to say, I don't know, right?
No. Let me tell you something. I don't care if you're a baby. I got a 3-year-old, 4-year-old goddaughter, and she don't even get to say, I don't know. Even if it's because I want to. You don't get it. I know at any age, I don't know. Because guess what? When a baby doesn't know, they say why.
Right, that part, yeah.
So why? So seriously, you say something to a child. pick that up, or we're going over why. They'll soon, that's one of their first words. So what, so if a child has enough sense to say why, okay. When a child says, I don't know, it's because they don't want to do it either. Okay.
Yes.
It's a cop-out word.
Yeah.
So if
Yes.
it's no more than because you don't want to, right? And if you really don't,
I don't want to.
if you really don't know, then what are you doing to know?
I like that. I like that.
I ain't say get
Oh,
to know. I said, what are you doing to know?
I was gonna save this for another conversation, but I think I'll give it today. I don't even know if they're ready for it yet.
All right, they ready because you got it. Let's go.
Listen, see how she do? See, look, I can't with her. She
Got it. Let's go. Give it. Give it. Don't wait. Don't wait. Don't
So I
wait.
was talking to Tamiko yesterday. She's so funny. And I was telling her about this framework. She said, Marnita, you so high level. I know I'm not, like, you don't know that you are, but you are. But I was telling her about this framework that I was doing some reading, and um I can't, like, this is so good for the community. And it talks about how you can begin to transform the way that you think. The way that you think is going to be direct, in a direct alignment with your image, getting back to home base, right? So there are 4 things. I call it a framework. Remember, those who take notes are going to get the most out of this conversation. So I'm going to really encourage you to get engaged and to write these things down. Because note takers are change makers, right? So y'all ready for them? So um, when you're listening to yourself think, there are 4 things that I want you to do. In the beginning, it's going to be like, oh my God, that's too much. You'll get over it. You get used to it. It was too much to learn how to walk when you first started walking, but you got over it and you got used to it. So no excuses in this community. I don't want to hear it. Okay, so number 1 is replace. So if you find yourself coming up with thoughts, I want you to hear what you thought, because whatever you think, you really say, right? Hear what you thought and replace it with another thought. Replace the thought, the self-defeating thought. Replace it. So number 1 is replace the thought. Replace it with a thought that is going to serve you at a higher level. That's important. 2, rewire. What does rewire mean, Dr. Marnita? You coming up with all this stuff like in regards to thinking and changing the way we think. Rewire means whatever that thought that you created, because all thoughts are created, right? Whatever thought that you created, I want you to repeat it until it becomes natural. Because when you repeat thoughts, they create a groove, and Tamiko could probably speak to this better. They create a groove, a path in the brain. And the deeper the groove, the easier it is for you to access that groove, that path. It becomes a habit. Okay. So you're going to rewire, replace, rewire, and you're going to reframe whatever created your limiting beliefs in your past. You're going to reframe that to something that is serving you on a higher level, because you're not going to get rid of it. Just reframe it in a way, because all lessons come in losses. So reframe your history. And then I want you to look out to your future. Your future comes to you from the inside. I want you to look into your future and pre-frame your future so you can begin to do things in the present that is going to impact your future. Have this replace, rewire, reframe, and pre-frame.
at some point, Marnita, giving a spiritual exercise, especially for the first two, giving a spiritual exercise on how to do this. Okay. Because I'm hearing that energy. Well, if hey, like they say, if that was so easy, everybody would do it, right? But there is a way to do this that with repetition, it will come. Okay. So the replacing the thought, the rewiring the thought, the reframing the thought, and then the pre-frame of the thought. Or I would say pro-frame for the thought, because it's after you've done those other things. So there definitely are ways to do this. So guys in the community, did y'all see what just happened? Dr. Marnita came with that science. And so yesterday when we were talking and she was bringing all this, I was like, do you recognize who you are, ma'am? You coming with all of this amazing deep dive energy, the science of the mind, okay? Because there's so much there. So that's the blessing and the awesomeness of this. And there's faith in this. And if you notice, especially people in my community and that I've worked with, and or I always say clients, and you've heard Marnita use the word hope a lot. And so thinking of it from a biblical sense of hope is the things of less hope for. But I want to say in the hope, there is a lot of essence in this, with a lot of hope and a lot of faith. In what she just spoke on, the replace and the rewiring. I am actively in the rewiring mode. And I'm from an era where they used to have vinyl LPs. That was records. And the way that the thing worked was a needle actually went on the piece of vinyl. And in the grooves, when the needle went across that, which was attached to a speaker or the transistor, some kind of way that worked, you got music. And then that's when DJs used to do something called scratching. And they would take the needle and scratch it back and forth across the LP to keep it in that same loop to get this same beat, right? I know I'm probably dating myself with people, but I'm sure you can find it on YouTube or something. But it's to speak to in a very real form on the same thing that happens with our programming. Sometimes we get caught in a loop. That needle of whatever that situation is gets stuck right there. And even if you are blessed enough to float over into a new melody, at some point in time, you might circle back around and right back in that groove. You're right back in that space. So when you start to rewire your thought process, and this is the beautiful thing about this community, it's open. That's a new thing for me. I don't do open community. I do now, though. So anybody that comes into this space, you are coming into this space because you're blessed and highly favored. And guess what? Favor ain't fair.
Favor ain't fair.
Favor ain't.
There's only one thing, Tamiko, that we did not address that I think it would be remiss of us not to.
Okay.
Which is, there was a question that one of our community members had. And she said that she would love us, and we can do like something brief, because we're 57 minutes into this. And I hope it's been helpful. But she wants to discuss the psychology or the mindset behind differing standards of image of women, standards of image women have for other women versus what they have for men.
Okay. So what I would like to do with that, I think we touched on it, and taking a deep dive into image first. Um, what I would like to do, because I did reference our member's name in the beginning, but what I would like to do with that, with based on what we just took the deep dive in about image,
Okay.
is that we go into the space and give a little prelude on that, answering the question directly. So it'll be in the actual chat to answer the member's question. And let's get some dialogue going with that and see what people say. Okay. Again, I feel like we touched on it. It's starting with image, right? And could you repeat the question again for me, please?
First, um,
Because she said the psychology of image of men versus women, right?
she said the psychology or mindset behind the differing standards of image women have about other women versus what they have about men.
Yeah, that's deep.
Yeah, that's a deep so that you know, Tamiko and I did briefly, no, we didn't briefly discuss anything because we never
It was almost
it wasn't briefly at all. But we did talk about it. But I think it's worthy of a whole
Yeah, that's a
another
short.
deep dive.
Yeah.
Um, because what we talked about yesterday is gonna take us like way past 2, and we don't want to take up a lot of your time. But I think when we come back next week, allow that, if you would, allow that to be the first thing like standards that we take a deep dive into, because it just doesn't have to do with men and women. And it's all perception awareness, right? So, um, but I think it deserves a more detailed conversation that we can have right now. And I think it's an excellent question. And one that I'm looking forward to dialoguing about Tuesday. But we did touch on some aspects
Right. And I think
of
what we're
that
doing,
today.
we're I'm sorry, I didn't mean to overtalk you. Excuse me for that. But I feel like what is happening right now, we're taking a deep dive into the main words in this because words have power. And so the image piece was huge. And now the standard piece is huge. And then putting those two things together, we'll probably go over it in detail again. And if anybody has any thing that they want to add to the conversation, because this is what this community is about. It's about the conversation. So weekly, you'll get this for time with Dr. Marnita and myself. Okay, we have committed. I have committed to an hour time frame for the live. But the beauty in it is there's more time being put into this, you know, off screen as well. So for you guys that are in the community, this is an opportunity for you to actually get some things answered, especially those that are also in coaching and doing things of that nature. You have this opportunity. You have access to us both. All right. And I want to thank our member again, because that was a very simple, a very quick question, but it was a deep question. I mean, we
It
got
was.
that, for a good hour and a half.
Yeah, we went down that rabbit hole, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. And so, and it was very thought provoking, and I want to thank her for that. And we're not done with it. So we didn't get to all of it yet. We will respond to it in the Facebook group. And what I would like to say, as we bring this particular session to a close, I want to thank Dr. Marnita again, and I love the way this went. You know, guys, we could go on and on and on till the break of dawn. But what's really nice, and there's a lot of things that's flowing right now that I feel intuitively as well, that this is going to grow. But I would challenge you, I'm going to revisit what Dr. Marnita gave you as far as a little homework. So think about those thoughts, okay, in the reprogramming. Replace those thoughts, rewire those thoughts, reframe those thoughts, and pre-frame those thoughts. And I don't know if anybody has ever got a piece of artwork or a picture professionally framed. You know, it can change the whole picture. It really can change the whole picture. So I will challenge you to look at the reframing. That's what we're doing right now. We're building, man, $1 million legacy with $1 million purpose. This is so good.
And I want to, as we exit now on our YouTube channel, 85% of you are just dating us. 85% of you are dating us. And our mission is to reach to reach 1 million people. In order, excuse me, in order to do that, I need you to commit to a relationship with us. Well, how do you do that, Dr. Marnita? You like, subscribe, share, and turn on the alert notification when we post, so you know when the next post has been uploaded. That's how you commit to a real relationship with us.
And you see, she was so serious about it, it choked her up. She ain't coughed the whole hour. So that's how serious she is about this. And I am too, guys. You know, I'm glad he said, y'all dating us. Because now you got to commit. I had to giggle. Come on and commit, people.
Go on, commit to a relationship with us. Like all in, all gas, no brakes. Let's go. Let's go. Until next week, Tamiko, do you have anything else you want to leave them with?
You just said it. You just said it. I just want to thank everybody for showing up. And I want to thank you for showing out.
You know I'm showing out. Well, until next time, go ahead and build your $1 million legacy with purpose. And based on our conversation, these are conversations for your calling. So go get it and use this in order to make a contribution to people that you have been assigned to become the person who can deploy your gifts and use them as a professional. I'm Dr. Marnita on fire. And in this conversation with my girl, Tamiko Ruby J.
All right.
Next week.
We'll see you next week. It's been a blessing. Have a great week and pre-frame that life. Come on, guys. You can do it. Have a great week. Bye-bye.